February 1960, the Moroccan town of Agadir was completely destroyed by an earthquake measuring 6.7 on the Richter scale. The following year, reconstruction began 2 miles south of the epicenter. Agadir is now a modern city. It sits on the Atlantic coast and is famed as Morocco's premier beach resort. The only building to survive the earthquake was the old Kasbah. Perched high up on a hill, it is now a tourist site, providing a wonderful bird's-eye view of the new city. The barren area that can be seen in the foreground is the site of the old city. This is Abdul, my taxi driver and guide. He is 65 and swears that his good health is attributed to rubbing argan oil into his skin once a week. To demonstrate this, and whilst he was driving somewhat erratically up the hill, he kissed the big toe of his left foot. But unfortunately I didn't get this magnificent feat on camera. The Arabic letters on the hillside spell God, King and Country. A group of us set out from Agadir with a very knowledgeable guide named Adil and headed south to Tiznit, some 95 kilometres away. We stopped at a number of places of interest, the first of which was this typical ceramics factory on the edge of the village of Sidi Bibi. They retain this traditional kiln with its fire underneath, although the backup kiln is gas-fired. This is a pile of rejects. After some kilometres we took a detour to the barren Atlantic coastline in the middle of nowhere. We were here to see some of the 800 or so caves that have been carved out of the volcanic cliffs on the shoreline. The caves are used by fishermen and surfers, mostly from Scandinavia. The only building for miles around is a hotel which is kept open by a steady stream of visitors from the Nordic countries. We then headed for the Massa River, which lies within the Souss Massa National Park, famed for its enormous variety of birds to be found there, both resident and migratory. The town of Tiznit is a relatively new creation as a trading centre in the south. Hassan I erected thick walls around the 12 existing Kasbahs in a failed attempt to stop the rebellious Berber tribes of the south. It has a thriving market, regularly visited by caravans who buy and sell wares in the commercial centre. These fellas are selling freshly roasted corn on the cob. Over the years, Jewish silversmiths moved to the town, establishing its reputation as a centre for metalwork and silver jewellery. The mining of silver continues today. Some of the group bartered for souvenirs. For lunch we travelled to a remote and rather unprepossessing Berber house. The meal was cooked in traditional tagines. It didn't feel right to film the group eating, but our very friendly hostess agreed to be on camera. This is the spectacular view from the rear of the house. That's a banana plantation down there. And the building on the other side, when finished, will be a hotel and tourist resort. Our next stop was to one of the 114 large dams in Morocco. It was built by Hassan II in 1971 and is used to irrigate adjacent farmland. On then to an area known as Little Sahara, which is not really a desert. Over the eons, easterly winds have blown sand from the Sahara over the Atlas Mountains to create this pseudo-desert. As we were leaving, I became intrigued by this fellow's activity. He was quite happy to be filmed. I guess tracksuits are part of Bedouin dress these days. Oh, so.
The plant.
Plant, is it? Oh, right. And what is it? Soothing?
The plant, marijuana.
Marijuana plant. Oh, right. No. I decided not to partake and wished him well. With Abdul's advice about argan oil ringing in my ears, I persuaded our guide to stop at a small shop making and selling argan oil products on our way back to Agadir. We were told it cured anything and everything, and although I didn't buy any, I did inquire as to how long and with what frequency I should rub it in before I could manage to kiss my big toe. I received a puzzled look.